I know you love a punt, right?
Yeah. Responsibly, of course.
Of course, always responsible. But like, what were you doing when there's Melbourne Cup on, the Cox played, all these big races? What were you doing?
Look, I don't want to lead people into thinking I'm too much of a degenerate, but I love my racing. If you grow up over here, you love your racing. So I was living in the UK. I'd wake up about 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'd get a couple of my mates to FaceTime me.
Wow.
So wherever they were, sometimes they're at the pub, sometimes they're at the races, especially for the big races. The Melbourne Cup, it's the race that stops the nation. So if I had NordVPN, mate, I could have just locked it straight into my laptop, not annoy anyone on the big day, but I was always chasing my mates to FaceTime me at the time.
That's crazy.
If I had NordVPN, it would have been so much easier. Like I said, could have maybe linked it onto my TV, at least watch it on my phone without punishing any of my mates. So if you want to sign up to nordvpn.com/levelspod, you'll get an extra 4 free months.
Wow.
This is the Levels Podcast. I'm Justin Horo, joined by the Triple OG, Widamu Viliami Mason. OG, week 2 of Levels Podcast. Good to be back. It was good to be breaking down the games last week, wasn't it? Like breaking down the teams.
We said at the start, it was like, we need rugby league back. We've had a big enough break, so no, it was good. It was good thinking about footy all the time. Usually, it does consume our lives now, and it has been since we were probably about 17. So it's something that we love doing. We don't look at this like a job. This is just fun.
It's good to be back in the grind of it. This is throwing you a little bit off kilter here, but on a little tangent. How are you feeling this time of the year? Like, because you talked about how being a rep player, a lot of the times you'd sort of come back in January. How early did you start getting excited for the seasons? Because some of these boys, like I seen an interview with Cade Dykes, the fullback from Cronulla, who did his ACL, and he feels like he's been in rehab for a year now.
Yeah, it's awful.
So how did you when did you start getting excited for the seasons? Seen as you probably come back a little bit later than everyone.
Coming back later is always it's a blessing in disguise, right? I think that's why you see guys like Cameron Smith playing, 20 years pretty much. Like he was always in the Kangaroo system, always in the Origin system, everything like that. So he's always at the pinnacle of his game. Billy Slater, JT, all these sort of guys. So obviously they're some of the best players of all time in that generation as well. So they get a little bit of a break. You come back, you pretty much got 6 weeks, and then you're playing. You're playing a trial game. Play 40 minutes or something like that, and then you're ready. You know what I mean? But you're not just doing nothing this whole time. Like you don't stop training till. You don't stop playing till like nearly late November if you're on World Cups and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So you need to recover for at least 4 weeks, at least.
Yes, at least 4 to 6 weeks, and 6 weeks would be around about like early Jan, mid Jan. So you come back, you just get the break. You understand you're involved with Origin. You're involved with big long runs into the semi-finals, plus the Australian Kangaroo Tours, the World Cups and Ashes and all that kind of stuff. So you need that break.
Cam Smith, 20 years, he would have played. I'm looking at all his rep games
50
here.
50-something tests, man.
So he would have probably 18 pre-seasons. He probably would have started in January out of the 20, you reckon?
Yeah. And then he's always he's fit as hell anyway. So all he needs is a little bit of a touch-up. Yeah. He'd do about 3 or 4 weeks of hard work, and then he goes straight into the season.
He wouldn't be that sort of guy that completely blows himself out too. When some players get a bit of a break and they go fucking.
And most of the pros, they wouldn't do that because you wouldn't be able to come back the next year and do that because they get back early. There was not one person when we were playing that was coming back overweight. We'd all come back in pretty good nick. All we'd need was a couple of Ks under the belt. Yeah. Because we've already done those 3 or 4 hard pre-seasons when we're 17, 18, 19, 20. You put that work.
Once you understand how to get through.
Yeah. So you already know how hard you got to train, where to get to, what to sort of, and then you just need to play. And that's what the Bulldogs were like. We trained hard, but it was pretty smart as well. So Melbourne's
there's a method
like
to
that.
the madness.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
And that's why the longevity will last for a while.
Yeah.
Because there's a couple of times where I got injured at the back end of the year and missed the whole preseason. Did Liz Frank, and it sucked. I was just on the grinder and on walking and swimming and everything like that. I've done an ACL, so injuries suck. Yeah. But at that time, you're still at one of the best players in the game, and it just
doesn't feel like you're part of the group.
It just doesn't, mate. It doesn't matter even if you are an integral part of the group. You're just not.
You're not
because you're not playing. You're not even included in anything. And I did that. I did my ACL at the Roosters, right? And Freddie was really good. He just goes, get away from. It was about my 10th year in the game. He goes, just get away from the club, get away from the team, because like you just want to be playing. You can't, right?
Yeah.
You just can't. So I was swimming at Woolloomooloo in that pool, in that saltwater pool right in the city, every morning.
Yeah.
Just swimming, and then going and doing weights with the team, and that was about it. But you need a break.
Yeah,
from just being around the team. Depends where you are in the game and like how much it consumes you.
If
like,
you've got the runs
Freddie
on the board.
knew what knows what I'm like. He goes, just go and do that. And that was the best thing. I come back in 5 months and 3 weeks from full blown ACL.
Oh, fucking hell.
Yeah, just swam, did all the rehab, did everything like that. And it just sort of Travis Tumar was my physio. He's the SSC now for the Bulldogs. He got me back real quick. And it just because I think I was just away from everything and just concentrated on rehab. Wasn't even doing anything. Wasn't even watching him train.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Because that does your head in too.
Does your head in.
Yeah.
Especially when you just consume with rugby league all the time. It's like, get me the fuck away. And he knew that. And you just go away and then I'll just come back. It was all right.
Yeah, nothing worse than when you can get or watch sessions and maybe get a little bit frustrated. Why are they doing that? Like, why is he doing that wrong?
But
you can't do shit.
But it would suck if you're a young kid fighting for your position, right?
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't phasing me. I'll come back into the side. I wouldn't go for a reserve grade or anything like that. But some kids have got to start again. That would be hard mentally.
For sure. What about the weekend, mate? Up to much over the weekend?
Went and saw my brother. Haven't seen him for a while. Took the family up there, his kids, and then we just chilled out there. Went up there Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Got home last night.
Up the coast?
Yeah, the
Some more
entrance,
swimming?
north entrance.
Yep.
So beautiful up there. Nora Head, all that kind of stuff. Like, I mean, I'm a Newey boy, right?
Yeah.
Moved to Sydney, but you sort of skip the Central Coast all the time.
You haven't spent much time there?
Not much.
Yeah.
Just Gosford, playing there and then going home. You know, not much. Haven't stayed there longer than a night.
You know what? Someone had a drone shot of Gosford Stadium. It was like I seen it on Instagram. It was like a Central Coast Mariners page or a player that played for. It's a beautiful stadium.
It's beautiful, yeah.
When you snap it from
stadium.
the back looking through the water, it's such a nice stadium.
It's slept on, eh?
Central Coast.
There should be a team there. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, Central Coast is a nice. We were talking on the way in. There's part of me that wouldn't mind moving up to Central Coast.
Yeah.
Just a little bit cheaper up there.
It's fucking boring.
Yeah. Now I don't.
I mean, it's good for family time
Shout out
and
to all
stuff
the
like
Casey's
that. Mate, I was at the entrance. I was like, holy fuck! And this is school holidays, right?
Yeah.
So this is peak season.
Yeah. Not much doing. Cruisy, bit of fishing, bit of swimming. Are you a big swimmer?
No, really? I don't surf
Like get
or
in
anything.
the
I just
ocean?
body bashing.
Yeah.
Couple of fishing heaps, you know.
Yeah.
Like brother,
That would
loves
help
fishing.
heaps if you're a surfer and that.
Oh, I'd be mad.
Yeah, it'd be all right.
But then you wouldn't be spending any time with your family.
Yeah,
If
true.
you surf all day. I know
one of my
like Rennie
mates-
and Joey and that, they surf and they're fucking for 4 hours.
Gone for 3 or 4 hours.
I'm like, what do you do all day?
Yeah.
You know what? To be so like, I think they get out there and they just want, like Joey loves it. He needs that sort of shit for his fucking
Mental
peace
health.
of mind.
Yep.
You know what I mean? He gets out there, he surfs with his little boy. He fucking loves it. I said, how long do you go for? I'm thinking like 45 an hour. Fucking 3 or 4 hours. I'm like, what do you do? Just at peace. It's good.
Just in the grind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good.
It's peaceful to be, even when I go out there and sometimes I'll do the Clay Valley run swim or it's because I've got the anxiety with sharks. I don't go too deep, but there's something just peaceful about being in the water.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm like you.
Yeah.
I don't like sharks.
Yeah.
And I think about it
I don't
all the
think
time.
most people
I watch
like
Shark
sharks.
Week too much.
Mate, we are hosting Super Bowl 58 party on Sydney Harbour, and it is presented by our friends, our partners, the Tabs. So if you want to come and join us with NFL, AUNZ and Tab for the official Super Bowl party on Sydney Harbour, jump on board the exclusive Super Bowl Sea Deck, a 42-metre, 3-level boat to watch the big game live from Las Vegas and experience 360-degree panoramic views of Sydney Harbour.
Wow.
And
Hope it's a good
unfortunately,
morning.
mate, we will not be watching the Packers because once again, like I said last week, we can just not beat the 49ers in big games.
One of those.
The hardest part about it, mate, was I had low expectations going into the game. We were playing with house money. We got the youngest team in the playoffs in 30 years. And I didn't think we were going to beat them. Then we get in a position where we should beat them. And it starts off with the kicker, but I also thought we got a really bad spot in the first quarter. You haven't watched the game yet,
No.
back, have you? When you get a chance to watch the game back, we really got a really bad spot on a 4th and 1 opportunity. But not to be. 49ers get the job done. So much to build on for the Packers. And even though I thought we were the better team on the day, I think 49ers are the better team. So it'll be a better Super Bowl to see the 49ers and the Ravens who have both gone through. We have the Bills and Chiefs playing now or after, and Detroit versus Bucks as we're filming this. So
how do you feel if you're the kicker? Just say if you're a defensive lineman getting bashed all game, offensive lineman just doing all that hard shit, QB, DBs, all that, and then I know it's a team, but you got teams within teams, right?
Yeah.
Are you even fucking saying anything to that kicker? I don't think I'm talking to him ever.
Yeah, there's a good chance he won't be on the roster. Matt LaFleur, our coach.
I can barely talk to a winger if they fucking drop the ball, and he's part of the. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, let alone the guy whose one job is to kick the fucking ball over.
Yeah,
I know people miss, but I'm like, he fucking should have got that.
For sure. It was 35 yards out. It wasn't. It was.
That's what I mean. It's just like it wasn't fucking 60 yards out.
No.
In the wind and all that sort of shit. It was just like, just kick the fucking thing,
mate. What's the name of our podcast? Levels. There's levels.
Yeah, mate.
There's levels.
Tucker wouldn't have missed it.
Tucker doesn't miss that. Tucker won't miss it. Who else has been clutch? Crosby had our old kicker was rough at the end of the back end of the his run, but for a long period he was really solid for us. But Matt LaFleur was quoted after the game as saying every time he goes out there, I pray. LaFleur.
He said, I pray every time the kicker goes out.
Why is he on our fucking...
What are you doing?
Kicker?
How's he getting... that's supposed to be the best of the best. Yeah. Like, in every position, it's the best of the best, right? Yeah. So cutthroat. And it's like, he's been awful all year.
Kicker like that. Yeah, he's missed like 4 or 5 field goals, I reckon, this year.
Like, costly ones.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man.
We lost a lot of one-score games.
If you're, the DBs and all that, they all stick together and the wide receiver, you're looking at him going, you fucking...
What position you reckon gives it to him the most? I reckon the DBs do the most talking the most shit. I reckon wide receivers and DBs talk the most shit.
Yeah, they'll be in your face.
But we've got a young core group. It'll be Jair Alexander for sure. He wouldn't be copping that shit.
No. He works so hard. Now, well.
All right, mate, let's get into the show, eh? So, today we're going to be breaking down the Dolphins, the Manly Seagulls, and the North Queensland Cowboys. Very excited to chat about all three of these teams. A lot of potential in all three. I think all these teams wouldn't be surprised if they're where they are still or they make the jump, because we know every year that teams drop out of the 8 and teams have got to go into the 8. So I think a couple of these teams are a candidate to go up for sure. Got a few little versions or comments on the kick rule that we sort of probably didn't address on Thursday. So got a few fans that are sort of thinking the same about game management. And you're cracking that body science energy can there, Mace, to get pumped up for this episode. But I pumped it yesterday for our run club.
How'd you go?
Good 5K. Our first run club back for 2024. So we only had about...
I would have been there. I was just up the coast.
Yeah, for sure.
That's it. I would have been there.
Yeah. Just to let everyone know, we have obviously the Nines tournament this week, the Nines Premier League tournament. A guy called Benny Vincent runs this for us in Sydney. We had someone reach out. Jesse Hunter, will you be doing a run club on the Goldie? Jesse, you don't understand how old we are and how tough this is going to be. We're playing Friday and Saturday in this Nines tournament. There's been a location change as well. So if you want any information on the Nines Premier League tournament, make sure you go on the Instagram page. I've got people texting me. There's been a change on the location, so go on there and find out if you want to buy tickets as well. Is it? That's why I've said go on Instagram page, because as we're going, I started to forget about it.
Lukey, do you know where it is, mate?
Lukey, that's right. But they can go on the Instagram page and go find it. But and you can also get tickets to come watch us play. It's going to be a good event. And Jesse Hunter, no mate, nothing on the Goldie, but the boys at Alfred's, Ed Hatcher and Mitch White, do a great job. They've got a run club up there.
We'll have a run club at Burleigh Pav.
We might be doing some laps around Burleigh Pav on Saturday afternoon. We'll see how we go. But before we do that, before we get in the games, I tell you what, I'm going to be smashing these energy drinks, OG, because we're going to need them for the Nines Premier League tournament. It's the ultimate solution for boosting focus and mental performance, because we're going to not only are we going to need to be on and we're going to need to be pumped up, but we're going to need to focus, because there are going to be people coming from everywhere, I think.
Let's not think it's in the 2000s when you can just catch balls easily.
No.
You're going to have to fucking guide that thing in, right? Hands up.
You actually, I was just trying to think, when was the last time? Because I didn't even play Oztag last year, so I haven't thrown a footy around in a minute.
I'm all right. I'm a trainer. I'm throwing footies around all the time. Doesn't mean I'm going to do shit, but.
Yeah. We're still cruising. Hands will do. We had a message on YouTube as well. Are they HACCP tested? Yes, they are. All the products undergo rigorous testing to meet the highest standards for athlete safety. So it's going to help fuel our performance. Our energy matrix combines glucose and taurine with essential vitamins to elevate your game and potentially win us the Nines Premier League, mate.
Was it 30 grand to win?
30K.
30K.
30K on the line.
Oh, you watch out. I'm telling you, watch out how serious it gets.
Who do you think's going to go hard?
I don't think look, there's one man called Greg Bird who does not have an off button.
Yeah.
And I think we've got the Moose, Josh Maguire, we'll just send them against each other.
Yeah, that'll go.
Go at him, Moose. Go at him.
Birdie was playing with, I think
Birdie's still playing.
Yeah, he plays A grade up there somewhere, doesn't he?
Mango will carve up. Watch him and the crew that he's going to have. Bro, we got a lot of big boys, right? We don't have much. We don't have any backs.
Yeah, we don't. We need some. We definitely. Well, we got to play to the best coaches, whether it be NRL or NFL. You adapt to what squad you got.
Mate.
We just go through the middle,
and it is nines.
Right? No one wants to tackle in nines. Why don't we just go straight to the middle and just fucking tell everyone we're going to kick the front door in? Try stop us. We got all front rowers.
100%.
And so just say for instance, what's his name's Alex Glenn's team. Like he's a good worker, right? But he's got all outside backs after that. If we make Lexi make fucking 6 tackles every set, then we've got to get the Corey Normans in to make the tackles. Does Mudders Norman want to make the tackles?
If we turn one on and want to go through the middle,
Gerard Beals,
good luck.
Jordan Carhoos want to make tackles. We'll see.
We'll just stack the front door.
We'll just go kick the fucking front door down, I reckon. Let's get after it. All right, mate. Like we said, we've got the rule changes. We're a little bit divisive last week. So similar questions here. One's from Adam Roy. On the new rule change, do you think the attacking side loses their advantage? Attacking side has built pressure and earned the right to get a repeat set, but then defending team has a better opportunity of getting the ball back with little to no risk involved. And again, that was echoed by Andy, who said, not a fan of the new rule change. For me, it's potentially an easy get out for a team getting dominated without risk of a penalty. Like a Penrith on top grinding, getting repeat sets through good kicks, essentially lose out on the 50-50 shot without a risk of penalty for the team on the back foot. So very similar.
Totally agree. I totally agree because the amount, how hard it is, you play this little game of kick, all for field position, right? To try and get down there and build pressure. Some teams don't even get that shot at a team like Penrith, right?
It's so hard to get.
It's very hard to get to win field position, and Penrith are the masters at that. All the good clubs are, and to even get a repeat set is very hard. So there's no reward. There's no reward.
Kick defense is so well now on last tackles.
You know, you got back rollers dropping back. You got the fullback sweeping. You've got your wingers dropping back. Your halves. Everybody's protecting each other. There is a system in place for every single kick.
Yeah, and then
it
you
ain't
get
like
it.
The old days, just like, hey, fullback, just get it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like trap and scrap. You got to trap the ball. You know what I mean? Like most of the time, front rollers and that weren't told to touch the ball. If it goes anywhere near you, you got to trap the ball with your feet or whatever, and fucking dive on it.
Yeah.
You know, to help everybody because these kickers are so good and it's a plan, right? Everyone's screaming through. So to even get a kick, like to get a repeat set, it's fucking hard to get down there to build pressure. So there is no reward. So just say you've gotten down there and Penrith will just bury you into submission, right? 3 or 4 repeat sets, and then you'll break.
Yeah.
They'll break you mentally. Right now you just go, oh, whatever, just kick it out or whatever, and then they don't get a reward. They get to tap the ball in the middle of the field, which is the best fucking place defensively because you've got fucking full 13-man line because the fullback will be in there.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean? So you got 7 and 6. That's what you're gonna have, and then you'll burn 1. Burn 2 to try and get to a point. Might take you 2 places to get to that numbers line, and then have a long shift, and then kick again. Imagine if try and get another repeat set, then you get another fucking tap.
Yeah, with the short kickoffs as well. If you do indeed get it back, you're probably chasing to get to your spot to put a play on for maybe 2 or 3 tackles anyway. Eh? So the skill, I think it's going to add more skill to it. I agree for sure with what you're saying, but if you're going to be a good grinding team, not only do you have to grind, kick well, get a repeat set, you've got to practice kick defense now as a part of it, right? Like kick. So, the variations that you've seen some teams do. I think I watched Penrith one game where Isaiah Yeo or whoever the centre was would get up on the kick defense if they were trying to do the short dropout. and just smash it back. They'll just knock it back. So it's like there's going to be pros and cons to it for sure, but you just got to keep. Like, just because you got the repeat set doesn't mean your job's over.
Okay, so just say you've been under the pump, right?
Yep.
And they're forced to drop out. You got the ball. It's 30 seconds, right? What's the time? 30, 45 seconds?
Yeah, about that, yeah.
Pump it out on the full on purpose.
Yeah.
There's another 30 seconds. So guess what? Boys, we've got a minute off. That's all these guys train for, that minute, and then you're nearly fully recovered.
That's a good one.
Kick the fuck out of the ball on purpose. Kick it in the fucking 20th row, and then just get back on your line.
Yeah.
Fully set line.
You don't think I understand
Instead of kicking it up and then like it's all staggered and all that sort of shit.
50-50, someone
50-50
gets
ball,
it.
but just kick the shit out of it. Don't even make it go anywhere. Then you got to get the ball back in and all that sort of stuff. Like you're fucking with time right there.
Yeah.
So people, if you don't think that's going to happen, you're an idiot.
You could get an extra 10 or 15 seconds minimum, right?
Easily.
Yeah.
But you've got that 30 seconds to even kick it. You go straight down to the bottom.
Yeah.
And then boot it, and then there's probably another 25 seconds.
Yeah.
That's a fair bit in the game. But
you're right. I think it'll happen.
Sorry, but then you get the whole line set.
Yeah.
You're not on the sideline.
Big boy, 60 seconds is massive.
It's big, mate.
Massive.
It's big.
Yeah.
So like, they're the little tactics. You give any grey area in anything in rugby league.
For sure.
Players will exploit it.
But for sure. I reckon it'll happen.
Yeah.
I agree. I totally think it will happen. And it'll be a shit variation of what the rule was brought in to get. But I think at the end of the day, no matter what, if you smash it out, you're gonna be able to set your line. But for the most part, you think 95% of the time, you want to get the ball back. You want to at least have a chance to get the ball back.
Yeah.
Because it's a backbreaker, mate. Like, we never played in this rule where it was like they were kicking it as much. But I've watched teams.
Depending on the score as well.
For sure.
If it's fucking 10-8 or if it's 10-all or whatever it is, if you're up.
If you're up
14-10, you're
right.
punting it out, mate.
You're right.
You are pumping it out.
Yeah.
Just to kill it off the time, man.
If it's 16-10, I can see a world with 2.5 minutes to go where Adam Reynolds, a cheeky little Adam Reynolds, just stabs one straight out.
He's good at that anyway.
Yeah. Or he goes the really hard dart to put it within 5 meters because he can place it. Like, have you seen him?
They'll be testing it.
They can do those stingers, right?
Low trajectory.
So aim to try get the ball back.
Like he was trying to do in the grand final, right?
Yes.
And it just didn't come off.
Yep.
I wasn't taking the piss out, but
Yep.
just say like he's trying to make a play.
For
now
sure.
there's no risk and reward. Who gives a shit? They're
Yeah.
going to tap the ball back, get your line set, boys, and we'll tackle.
Yeah, you're right.
So they're going to actually go for it if you need the ball back. The low trajectory, trying to get that 20,
But if
that
not-
30, in between the 20 and the 40-ish.
Yep. Attack that back rower.
If not, it just goes out in the full.
Yeah.
And we don't even have to move up.
Yeah.
We just set our line.
Yeah.
Fuck,
Walk up.
I would rather that.
Yeah, you're right.
If you're a middle, because the middles are getting blasted. And this whole rule, the stuff that we're something, we just need more fatigue. How much fucking more fatigue do you need these kids? Everyone's going to be a fucking marathon runner. Looking like be all fucking 80-kilo front rowers. Is that what you want? You want fucking big dudes like it's an anomaly like a Tino and a Payne Haas and Fanul Blake and all these blokes. I see these kids coming through the system now. They're big and strong and everything like that, but they're not fucking fit enough.
Yeah.
It's such a fitness thing. I get it, but I mean, how much more fatigue do these kids need?
Yeah.
Then the quality of football just goes down.
Yeah, through the middle, you're right.
Through the middle, it gets sloppy. People, like they're talking about HIA, the technique goes out. When the fatigue hits you properly, you're not thinking about the proper technique, just trying to do your best.
The front rows will turn into like Victor Radley body shape. So
He's going to have little,
nuggety,
don't know.
like short, stocky. If they keep going, if they keep trying to
They
fatigue
keep
the
trying to
players.
fatigue the play. I think at right now, the game is at its peak. It's fucking great to watch. These kids are big, strong, athletic. But fucking hell, you can't fucking put that much pressure on them.
It's a good product. You don't have to keep tinkering with it.
The product
all
is
the time.
great.
Yeah.
You don't have to keep fucking with it.
Yeah.
These guys are big, strong, fast. They're athletic. The football is magnificent to watch. You know, like I don't think there's that much wrong with it. You can't fatigue them anymore.
Speaking of the big boys in the middle, here's one from Kit McInnes. Always wanted to hear opinions on tackling infringements, high contact in brackets. Should there be a sliding scale for tackle infringements punished based on how many tackles you average? I'm all for a penalty in a match and sin bins, etc. It's more the post review that annoys me. If you're in the middle doing 50 tackles with one slip up, surely it's not the same as a winger making 5 tackles a game and slipping up once as well. It's an interesting take, right?
I understand the take.
There's some levels to the reason I put it in, because I think it's a good discussion, and I'll start this one off, Mace. I don't think you can lessen the blow for someone just because they make more tackles, but I do think it's an interesting question. My problem is
fatigue, right? There it is.
For sure. Like, you make 50 tackles, you're going to be. Well,
you've been out there for 65 minutes.
Just it comes back to it's a numbers game. Yeah. Like, if you're going to make that many tackles, there's probably a chance that you're probably going to slip up and make an error. So that's his point. I don't think you can diminish someone who makes a poor tackle regardless if they make 50 or 5. But my problem with the system right now, and I've said this for a while, Mace, you'll agree with this. The same penalty and judgment, especially in the post-match reviews, the judiciary, is not the same for front rollers, is the same for wingers and halves in particular. Like, remember last year, the back end of the year, I think it was little Sammy Walker, right? He's fucking 75, 80 kilos dripping wet. Doesn't matter. And this is nothing against Sammy. I love Sammy. He's great young player. It's more the amount they're penalised, or the amount of games they're penalised, and the rulings on halves. I don't care if Luke Keary or Sam Walker hits Willie Mason high compared to if Victor Radley or Jared Hargraves hit Willie Mason high. The rules have to be the same across the board, because some of those little halves get off with absolutely nothing.
Everything.
And then some of the big boys, and I'm using the examples on purpose,
Hargraves,
because they play in the same team. I don't want it to be like, it would be the same if it was Cam Munster compared to Nelson Asafa-Solomona. Like, if Cam Munster does the same hit as that big Nelson does, he should be penalised the same, and it just doesn't happen. And that's no
consistency.
That's my biggest problem with the consistency with the post-match reviews.
It happens there. And it sucks, because they should be doing it off the intent, right? Some of these halves come up and bang, they hit these big blokes in the head just because the big guys aren't going on the ground and getting knocked out. Some other big guy hits you with the same sort of like hit, but you're out.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Like, what's the difference there? I don't know. It's the intent. Is it because you're bigger and stronger? Yeah. I'm not sure how they measure it like that.
You're right. Yeah, through the middle. So generally when forwards I'd say more often than not, a lot of forwards get caught out by halves that sort of duck, try to get under tackles, right?
Yeah.
And when halves are committing the offence, it's generally on a taller back row where they're trying to jump and get into the tackle. Yeah. But the force isn't as much on the back row. But
the intent's there.
The intent is still the same.
You're still hitting him in the head. So back to that question, right? I just think it's the intent of how hard you hit. If you've made 50 tackles and you just fucking clean someone up, unlucky.
Yeah.
You're done. And a winger, even though he's making 5 tackles, doesn't matter. He's probably run about 300 metres or 200 metres. He's under fatigue himself. He reads it wrong.
They're important decisions out there, aren't they?
They're crucial decisions, and you can get that shit wrong because they are moving. He could be like 20 metres back before he makes a decision, where our decision zone is like 5 metres.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like the wingers are really dropped back. You got to watch the ball go from fucking 40 metres away from you and read it and time it. Shit goes wrong.
For sure. You only make 4 or 5 a game.
Yeah,
but if you
might make fucking 10. You probably miss him fucking 6. I don't know, but it's hard for the wingers to judge that. Usually, and they might be trying to aim low, and the next minute he moves and steps, and then you got to fucking miss. It's
out
hard,
the back
mate.
On a sweet line, tries to kick away, ducks underneath.
You got to watch the lead runner, the guy at the back. Fucking Teddy's coming around the back. He could be throwing it over the top. It says there's a lot of little variables there. So it just depends on how hard you hit the guy in the head.
I
just
agree.
Don't hit.
Interesting question, but I agree on that, and I just think there should be level.
They're not going. They don't give a fuck about how many tackles you make.
Level ruling across the board. All right, mate. Let's get into the teams. This is one of the feel-good stories, I think, for sure, of 2023. How they started the season. Yeah, they dropped off at the back end, and that ended up accounting for them to slide all the way to 13th for felt like for the first 8 weeks they were cemented in the top 8 and going really well, and no one expected that at all. The Dolphins, the 2024 gains, I think, are probably up there with the best in the NRL for this year. Herbie Farnworth and Tom Flegler come over from the Broncos. Jake Averillo comes from your Dogs, Mace. And Oren Keeley comes from the Knights. And we'll talk about Oren Keeley a little bit later on. They've got a gain in 2025 already as well. Junior Tupou that we talked about from the West Tigers. And for losses, they lost Brenko Lee, Herman Essa. He goes to Hull FC. Poasa Farmasuli is down at your Dogs with you, Mace. And JJ Collins is unsigned. My predicted lineup. I love this back five too, by the way. I love the big question mark for them for sure is still going to be their unproven halves pairing. But everything else looks pretty good, mate. Let's start off with the fullback. He had a career best year, dominated in all forms. Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow at fullback. Right. I have Dally M Winger of the Year, Jermaine Asako on one wing, with Tessie New I've got on the other wing.
On the other wing?
With a guy who was knocking on the door last year, a guy called Jack Bostock, who in spurts looked pretty good, but I think Tessie would be the front runner. And again, it's one of those situations where Bostock's going to have to take that job from him in preseason and trials. Two really good new sharp centres. Herbie Farnsworth will be on the left. I think Jake Averillo will be on the right with Asako. That'll be a good little combination. I've got...
Jeez, that's solid, isn't it?
Yeah, really good back five, mate. Really good back five. Isaiah Katoa in the halves with Sean O'Sullivan, with both Cody Nikorima and Anthony Milford pushing young Katoa. But I think Isaiah Katoa, first year, Dave... Yeah, he's the future, right? He's the rookie. They've got to put a lot into him. They need to develop him.
Sullivan's the one under the pump.
I think opposite. I think Sean O'Sullivan's a lock for half.
Yeah.
I think Isaiah Katoa will be pushed by Cody Nikorima and Milford because he lost his spot last year, Katoa, at the back end of the season.
He's 19 or 20, right?
Yep, for sure. But I just think with O'Sullivan, even though he doesn't have the ceiling as Katoa, you sort of know what you're going to get out of him, right? He's going to be... None of those three guys in Cody Nikorima... and even MILF, to a degree, have never been proven to manage a team.
They're fucking great. They've got so much talent. You know what I mean? Like, they've been around the game, like both those guys, Nikorima and Milford, for 10 years? Or Milf a lot more. 2012 he hit the scene.
Yeah, Milf's been around for a minute, eh?
Yeah, ages. Even 11 or 12.
Because he would have been about 18 when he started.
Yeah.
But that's not his role, right?
Hurrah.
He's never been a game manager in half regardless. Or
he's
even
a game breaker.
He's a game breaker.
But Nikorima's the same as well. Like
Nikorima had a really good year.
He probably had his best year for a couple of years.
Yeah, I agree.
But you just want that consistency every game. You do that, he gets New Zealand jerseys. You know, like he's got that talent.
He would have played a couple of games for the Kiwis, but
he has. Yeah, that's what I mean. But he's been in and out of first grade, play, drop, this, all that kind of stuff. So just consistency. You'd love to see him just be consistent for the next 2 or 3 years to show that young Katoa how to play. Katoa needs MILF or a Nikorima as his half.
You think so?
I think so. Okay. They've got more experience than Sullivan.
Yeah.
And their talent should be like that. They should be mentors of this young little kid.
So would you prefer Katoa taking over the sort of managing the team a little bit more?
I just want him to play.
Yeah.
I just want him to play freely and not be structured, and I don't know, like just let those other blokes should be taking a lot more responsibility. They're all fucking 30 years old. Been around the game for a while. This kid's his third year in the game. He's a kid. He needs
what
other
rugby
half,
league's like, mate.
I know. But he needs that other half that can just take over games, and he can just do things. Whatever side he's controlling, he controls. And
well, we'll see how that plays out. Anyway, I think it's going to be a really interesting competition. In the front row, I think the OG still keeps his spot, despite I think a few players knocking on the door there. They've got some. I'll look at it. Let me run. I'll just run through their 8 to 17 for you because it's deep all the way to the bench. Jesse Bromwich and Tom Flegler in the front row. Yeah. Jeremy Marshall-King hooker. Felice Kafusi and either Connolly Lemuelu or Kenny Bromwich in the back row. Tom Gilbert will be right for round 1. On the bench, if he doesn't end up playing 6, Cody Nikorima in the 14. If Kenny Bromwich doesn't make the starting lineup, you've got Kenny on the bench, or you've got Connolly, either way. And then you got, in the 16 jersey, fighting it out, Mudders Wallace, Josh Kerr and Mark Nichols, all veteran front rowers, fighting it out for, I think, one bench
solid
spot.
Team.
And then Ray Stone in the 17 jersey, who's just going to be straight up the guts.
Yeah, you need him.
You need a guy like Ray Stone.
You don't do much with the ball, but he can fucking hit.
Yeah. It's good 17.
It's fucking
It's a
solid.
good 20. Because like a couple of these guys,
It's a top 8 squad.
we just talked about last week, last week, first episode, the importance of middles in the game and a strong forward pack.
That's middles.
That's a forward pack that's not going to fuck around, and that's the reason they were in the top 8 for long.
OGs as well.
A lot of OGs, and I think that's why they were cemented in the top 8 for so long.
Yep.
A few of them a little bit older. They got a little bit banged up. They got a little bit injured at the back end of the year. But you bring in
You got the Jersey Flegler, who's in his prime.
You know, he's my guy for candidate for. He's already an Origin player. He probably would have played for Australia. I think he's going to be regarded as one of the best middles in the game. Tom Gilbert.
Tommy, yeah.
I love Tom
He
Gilbert.
got Luke O'Donnell vibes.
He's big Donsky
Doesn't he?
vibes.
Big Donsky.
Big Donsky
Big Regal vibes. He's got it.
Big serial killer vibes, you know? Like,
Well, that's fucking Luke O'Donnell.
yeah.
So when we say that, those vibes,
That's
they're
respect.
It's killer.
Those are guys you want to play
He's
with.
got that dog in him.
He's dog.
He is. And he's an 80-minute man. He just wants to fucking hurt people. I love it.
Yeah.
Wayne would love him. That's a very fucking good team. If they can all play to their potential and hardly any injuries, it's going to be a team to beat.
Well, if you look in the outside back, so I didn't even chuck in Mudders Tafare, who's lost like 10 or 15 kilos.
Oh, has he? Good.
He's going to be
taking shit serious.
He's going to be putting pressure on Herbie and Averillo to just make sure they're playing top tier footy.
What if he could just come off the bench? You reckon he'd come off the bench?
Potentially.
And just be a fucking destructive little ball
Yeah.
in the middle or on the edge.
Edge
Play
back
lock.
row.
I don't know. Like just be there. Just get on and
They
just run.
They've got so much they've got more versatility than I anticipated.
Because like a guy like Ray Stone, I'd love him in your team, but like if Mudders is coming after him, Tafade, like that's going to be. I know you're probably going to go with Ray Stone because he defends so good. But
Yeah.
Tafade's destructive.
But if Ray Stone doesn't
if he doesn't offer anything with the ball,
well, if he slips up and just gets comfortable because he's that guy in the middle of the
yeah,
bangs.
I don't think so.
They got competition.
You're doing that with Wayne.
When I looked at this team, right, so I was looking at the lineups and I've gone through and I've got my predictions. So I still have them at a predicted finish of 9 to 12. I think they're just going to miss the 8. They're going to be thereabouts, but I still got question marks.
I'm in the 8.
ones. You're in the 8?
Yeah, I like that
You
side.
get too excited about every team when I
My
call
8's
out.
going to be. It's going to be different.
You remember you got to take people out. So you've already put the Titans in top 4, and now you got Dolphins in 8. Only got 16.
I just don't think that the other teams are going to be that good.
Yeah,
because
okay.
nobody is going to go. No one's gone like this.
Yeah.
They have. The Titans have gone like because of the coaching and some players, and the Dolphins are like that.
And they've got a head coach. Too.
Yeah.
I mentioned the name before, mate. Oren Keeley. So he played a couple of games for the Newcastle Knights already. Debuted at the back end of 2022 when they had everyone injured. He's a Central Coast back row. He's played under 19s. I think he got under 19s Player of the Year for their little series that they had. He looks like a real player of the future for him as well. I think he's going to really push. You know, you got Felice and Kenny, OGs, been around for 10 plus years.
Yeah.
They can't play forever. I think these young kids, they just signed him for 2 or 3 years from Newcastle. And I don't think Newcastle wanted to let him go as well.
What's his name?
Oren Keeley, his name is. So a player to watch.
Ogre would know him.
Yeah, Ogre would know for sure. Ask Ogre about him. To win the GF, the Dolphins are paying $41. To make the GF, they're paying 19. To win the minor premiership, they're paying $67. To make the top 4, $9. If you're excited, as Mace is, about them making the top 8, $3.75 is good value, mate. And to miss the top 8, $1.22. When I was looking
what
at
Titans and Dolphins are to make the 8 together. Can you combine that?
I think you can. I think there's more.
Do it, people.
I'll have a look
Responsibly,
at it.
of course.
Responsibly, of course.
$2 each way. No.
Got a question here on the Dolphins. This one's from Corey Clark. Do you see the hammer having the same impact early with the new players around him? Herbie Farnworth, Jake Averillo most likely to be in the centres. He ended up playing a little bit of centres last year. You think Hammer is going to jump out of the blocks the way he did last year?
I think so. His trajectory is like that. The kid can play. Being fullback, understand, like, just say with the fullback, the back rows that they got, like the diversion that they have, like the Averillos and the pace that they got, the Herbie Farnworths, you're going to get centres jamming in on these guys. He's going to get one-on-ones around there. He's got that speed to get around that centre and the 3-man, everyone like that, and then play on that short side. He's fucking lightning, mate.
He doesn't even have to have that silky pass.
No.
He's so fast.
You know, because he got your gun centres. Because if you don't account for the centres, Herbie's going to smoke you. And Avs has got that speed as well. You know what I mean? So if you don't account for those guys, if you want to turn out, you're going to hit Avs. If you want to turn in, you got fucking Hammer just flying on your outside. And then you got like, who's Osako?
Yep, Sarko on the wing.
and whoever the other wing.
Testing or Bostock potentially.
Yeah, they're great finishers.
I agree, mate.
They're going to be hard. They've got good back rolls. Felice Kafusi, Kenny Bromwich, good ball players. You know, like it's going to be dangerous.
Think about where Hammer turned up as well. Like they don't even have to beat you with beautiful shape. What they're going to do, and this is the blueprint, it ain't changing. They're going to bash the fuck out of every team that they play defensively. Yeah. They're going to play through the middle, and Hammer's going to pop up through the middle on a loose carry or a wide A or some beautiful, nice ruck manipulation. I hope Jeremy Marshall plays.
I hope he gets a full season, Marshall.
I think, I know he's got that chronic shoulder injury, but at the start of the year, he was a real contender for Dally M, and he did his best work with Hammer, just pushing through the middle. I think Hammer's going to go. I think he really cemented himself as a top tier outside back in the game last year, and I think he goes to another level because...
Did he make the Aussie team?
Yeah, he played centres.
Yeah, that's right.
Killed it. And he's so versatile. And with Wayne, Wayne just knows how to manage those sorts of personalities. He doesn't seem like a big talker. You don't need to be sometimes with Wayne. Like he knows... He'll get the most out of the guys that might be less talented, a guy like Sean O'Sullivan, but can communicate really well to get him in those spots, and then Hammer just pops up, bang, goes after it. Yep. I'm excited to watch the Dolphins this year.
They're going to be good.
Who else am I excited about? Hope Valens Tafade can really put some pressure on these players.
Yeah, it'd be hard for him to find a spot, but if he's lost 10 or 15 kilos, that's what he needs to lose.
He looks it.
And he's showing Wayne... I ain't fucking around.
I'm throwing that number out there just purely on seeing him on social media.
Looks good, right?
Yeah, he does look good. He looks really good. So hopefully he can have
just
a big
to maintain that, man.
And we'll see what these halves can do. If Isaiah Katoa can become the player that a lot of people envisioned him being, still young, 19, 20, he's now run a Tongan team for a couple of years.
Yep.
Debuted last year and had a really good start, sort of dropped away. If he could kick on,
be patient with him, mate. It mightn't even be this year. It could be in a year or two when he's 22, 23. None of these guys, people just think they're going to hit. How many halves have hit their... The only one who's done that is Nathan Cleary in the last 10 years, who's hit the scene at 18, 19 and dominated ever since.
Yeah.
No one else has done it.
And even he had a bit of a shaky...
the Deardens and all these kind of guys and the Sullivans, and they all threw up and they threw them the Brodie Crofts, fucking 2 years and they're done.
Yeah. It's how you manage them for sure, the coaching for sure. All right, mate, let's move on to the Manly Warringah Seagulls. Really excited about this team this year, mate. So I am, mate. 2024 gains, really good as well. I think this is going to be a Warriors-type recruitment where not that much expectations, probably a few question marks around a lot of players. Remember last year, like Tamati Martin had been injured for a long time, was in and started for the fullback for the Broncos. Then he sort of got the job got taken from him at one point. Missed a lot of footy. Mitch Barnett had a shaky last season with the Newcastle Knights. He was one of their most consistent all year. Murata Nuakora comes over. I think they've got a couple of guys like this. Like Luke Brooks coming over, I think it's going to be a breath of fresh air for him. Tommy Talau also comes over from the West Tigers. Jackson Bolo.
He's looking big.
He's looking really good. Stat. He needs to... This is a big year for him. I reckon this is a make-or-break year. No, Jackson, I think Tommy Talau's got a...
That's what I'm saying. Tommy Talau. If you see Tommy Talau on that Manly way,
fuck, he's
fucking Jack. Getting the baby in the back row soon.
I think Jackson Paulo. So obviously gone from the Rabbitohs now to the Roosters for a season, and now he's at Manly. It's a big year for him. He needs to sort of physically. He's got everything. Just mentally, it's the next part for him. It must be. They also got Itasi James from the West Tigers. And Corey Waddell returns from the Bulldogs.
Good kid,
after starting at the Manly Seagulls. He went over the Bulldogs for a couple of years. He comes back.
Manly, Bulldogs.
He'll be good for him. 2024 losses were Samuela Fainu. Kelma Tuolangi goes to the Eels. Morgan Harper goes to the Eels with him. Ko Weeks went to the Raiders. Sean Kepi went to the Rabbitohs. And Morgan Boyle is unsigned. My predicted lineup.
The losses aren't that big.
No, they're not. They're not. Like good, solid players.
They replaced them with, it'd be different if you lost all those guys and you gained nothing. I like Kepi.
We'll break down the Eels next week. Yeah. I think, so do I like Keps as well. But I think Kelma Tuolangi and Morgan Harper are the sort of players that Brad Arthur does really well with.
Fuck Morgan Harper's career up.
That Teleco game,
It's that one game, man.
Yeah.
He probably needs a whole fresh start.
He did. He needed a fresh start.
Forget about it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a player in there for sure.
No one's ever. That was one of the best single.
It's almost
games
like
I've ever seen.
Brooks and Tommy Talau needed to leave the West Tigers.
Yeah.
And I think Morgan Harper needed to leave Manly.
Totally agree.
It'd be good for all of them involved. Predicted lineup, Turbo at fullback. I got Saab and either Jackson Bolo or Christian Tuipoloto on the wings. As for the centres, I got the Juice Tolu-Kola at one centre, and I got Ruben Garrick as the other centre, and I got Tommy Talau really pushing both of them. I think Tommy's been brought over, and Jackson Bolo in particular, to really put some pressure on the back five because they lose Morgan Harper. Brad Parker's been re-signed, but Brad Parker's the sort of player, he's like a clubman. He's probably a guy that I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up starting in the Saints for some reason, just because he's super rock solid for him. But I think the other guys have bigger ceilings, high ceilings. 6, Luke Brooks pair up with Ches. Taniela Paseka in the front row with Josh Alloway. Lachlan Croker, he's just been rock solid for him the last couple of years, Croaks. In the back row, Hamoli Alakuatu with Schuster moving back to the back row to account for Luke Brooks coming on the left. Jakey through the middle. Hopefully Jakey can get back to a little bit more of that ball playing role that he's...
Why'd they fucking put him in the front row last year?
He stopped for a little bit, yeah.
He's a great ball player.
Yeah.
Beautiful hands.
They need to get back to that. As for the 14, I've got either Carl Lawton or Gordon Chan-Kum-Tong. I actually think the young fellow Gordy, who was really good for Samoa, is front runner for that spot. But Carl Lawton, if he can stay injury-free and he gets suspended a fair bit as well.
Yeah.
If he can stay on the field, there's a real player. Like he's almost a perfect 14. Hooker, lock, edge back rower, chuck him in the centres, he'll do a job. He just hasn't been able to play consistent footy throughout his whole career. Matt Lodge did his ACL halfway at the back end of last season, but if he was playing, he'd be either he'd
be pushing for a start.
He'd be starting, but I've got him on the bench
to play. I think he'd be getting the trials in that, wouldn't he?
Oh yeah, you reckon?
Yeah. It'd be like 6 months.
I felt like he did it with like 5 rounds to go. So is that enough time to get back? And
yeah, it is.
Okay.
Depends. I mean, as I said, like I did mine the last round. I come back round 2.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
So it's possible. Just depends on how
hard he's
how his body reacts. Like if he's fine, he'll play. It's different in the front row too.
Yeah.
Just run hard and straight.
Yeah. You don't have
a little
to
bit. Yeah. You're not stepping around, and you're not. So he might be able to get back. He'll be definitely back before round 10.
He was really good for the 3 or 4 games that he played before he got injured. Ethan Bullymore played a lot better at the back end of the season as well. Toa Fafoa Sipley, he's another candidate to be pushing for a start in front row spot. Yeah. Been around for a while now.
Be definitely on the bench.
Feel like, he really pushed the front rows and actually started a fair few games at the back end of the last year. Love Sips. And then on the back row, the edge back row spot will be either Benny Travojevic or Corey Waddell. My predicted finish, I got them in the 5 to 8 range. I think they can push for top 8, but wouldn't be surprised if Tommy stays fit. They really push for a top 4 spot. But I'm really excited about him this year. I think, in particular, the player that I'm really excited about is Luke Brooks.
I need to see what's going to happen on that left edge if you've got Schuster there.
Yeah.
What sort of play? Like Luke Brooks is a runner. He ball plays as well. Like Schuster doesn't run.
Do you think they'll complement each other well then?
Fuck no.
Because you said Luke Brooks likes running and Schuster doesn't.
What is Schuster going to do?
He's going to have to play that gifty role, like that, just, ball playing a little bit more. Maybe a Wade Graham where, you think of those two guys.
That's what I mean. But he needs to have a couple of little things in his arsenal, right? He needs to be able to hit holes and he needs to be able to ball play because his ball play is easy. He's one of the best ball players in the game. You notice
at any position.
But if he wants early, because he's going to want early ball from Brooks, so that will take Brooks' running game out.
Yep.
So Brooks is just going to get a long ball. Give me the ball. What about if Brooks wants to go dig into the line? Does he hit a hole? He doesn't hit holes.
You're right.
Which he needs to fucking do because he's a fucking gun.
He needs to change his mentality early in games.
Yes.
Be playing more aggressive.
Really aggressive.
And then earn it.
Yes. You know what I mean? Like just say on a quick play of the ball. We need early ball. Boom. Have that. How Toops used to run. Get the ball, early ball, center, leading, fullback out the back.
Yeah.
All that sort of stuff on short sides, on those long falls. You know what I mean? He can play like that. Unreal. But he needs to add a couple of little strings to his bow this year to go to that next level. He can't just get early ball all the time because that'll fucking ruin Brooks' game.
Yeah.
Brooks is a ball runner. What if he wants to run and then you need your back rower to fucking be hitting holes and then you fall back around the back like Tommy? You know what I mean? Like Tommy needs that diversion with the back rower who's genuinely going to get the ball. Otherwise, they'll just fucking slide off Schuster, and then Tommy just gets man on man.
Yeah, he definitely needs more variety.
Just a little bit of variety to his game. He's got the skill set to do that easily. Yeah. He just needs to do it.
He's got the body shape.
He's got body shape. He's got everything. He's fit now. There's no excuse. I think he broke his thumb or his finger. It's probably the best thing for him because then they'll just fucking run him into the ground.
And you know what?
Fit.
And if they don't too, they've got a guy like Ben Travojevic or Corey Waddell who just run along.
They will run, and then he'll end up coming off the bench. You know what I mean? It'll be fucking his minutes up, and it'll fuck his development up. Yeah. Oh, he's just a bench player. You know, then he's on 800 grand. They'll be like, oh, he's the bust. You know, you don't need that. If he can just fucking all right, I can hit holes, I can ball play, I can have all these fucking strings to my bow. He can do it all.
The big question mark for sure, not only in attack.
In defence, mate.
I actually think they can figure it out. It's going to be defensively Brooks and Schuster next to each other. They're going to be big targets. But especially early on in games.
Brooksy can tackle if you are running straight at him. Everyone can tackle like that.
Yeah, he makes a bad read every day.
Very bad reads. Yeah. And Schuster, very bad reads.
He sets himself too early.
Yep. Yeah. And Schuster's not a strong defender. So they'll be going at those guys all the time.
Yeah. To win the GF, Manly are paying $21. To make the GF, they're paying $10. To win the minor premiership, they're paying $23. And to make the top four, $4. Make the top 8, $1.90. To miss the $8, $8.80. So pretty much,
yeah, they're in my own.
They're split. Everyone's sort of the market's split on them. They're a 50-50 chance of top 8
because they're looking at turbo.
So what are you saying? Are you saying
I like that? They'll be in the 8. How many more teams have we got?
We haven't even got 5 more teams, and we haven't even got to the top 8 yet.
Look who didn't make the top 8 last year.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, South, Parramatta.
Yep.
Like all those big teams, and they haven't gotten any better. Who have they got? Like they've probably digressed a little bit. South,
it's Jack Whiten.
Yeah, Jack Whiten, but like they need forwards.
Who did they do? They get anyone in the middle? I don't think they got anyone in the middle. Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. I just think these teams that were like around about from 9 to like 14, they're fucking going like that.
Well, there's another team coming up, and I think they're going to be.
Yes.
I'm more excited about them than I am Manly. So I got Manly at 5 to 8. Here's a question from Daniel Hutchinson. How will Manly change once DC eventually leaves? So DC is 34 years old. He's got 2 years left on his contract.
How old's Brooks?
Brooksy would be close to 30, I reckon. Maybe
so he's probably got like 4 years left in him. Brooks will have to go to halfback and Schuster to 6.
Yeah.
And then just obviously, hopefully, they're developing some young kid.
Yeah.
That's what they've got to do. They'll be thinking about that sort of succession plan for years,
Do you think that played into bringing Brooks over to play 6, get used to,
DC's
get some confidence back?
Bro. Like he's got like this year, maybe next year.
Do
you reckon? Like,
easy. Yeah, I think he can keep going. Like,
I think so too. I don't see him want to keep going.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It takes a toll. He's got his family. There's a whole different life than playing footy. He can still play.
There's a part of me that thinks DCE will be chasing like
the
records.
What's he on now? He's on 300, isn't he?
So he just played 300 last year, as in not necessarily Cam, because what did Cam play?
No one's beaten Cam. He just wants to beat Beaver. Beaver's on. Beaver ended up getting what, 350? 349.
Cam, yeah.
349. He got the same as Bar, 349.
I reckon I can envision Ches finishing number 2 on the list of most games ever. Cam smashed it, eh?
Oh, Cam, and then he could have kept playing another 2 years.
Yeah. Easy.
He could have kept playing for Australia and Queensland. Still play now. Ches will think. I think he's going to have 3 years in him.
I think he'll extend. I think he'll extend year to year after the next.
Because he's fucking still playing well.
Yeah, top shelf.
And he's gotten smarter. You know, you just get developing. So it'll be up to Ches when he wants to retire. And how many times? How hard is it to get a world-class half? He's only just given up the mantle to Cleary now. He's 35, right? He's held on to it that long.
And every time Origin comes around, he seems to take it back for a couple of weeks before Cleary goes and wins a grand final, and then Cleary takes it back.
Yes.
Yeah. It seems like that's the rotation every year.
That's what it is.
Cleary's the best all throughout the season. Ches takes it from him with Munster when they beat him in Origin, and then Cleary goes, "Fuck you! All right, I just won 3 grand finals in a row."
So what's going to happen is he hasn't retired from Origin, has he?
No.
He'll play this year.
Yeah, he'll play.
They won last year. He'll go if they get beat, then he'll be done.
And no one like the next closest is Tommy Dearden, who's
Sam Walker and Dearden. So they need to prove that they can play at that level. Dearden can. But Sam Walker's that next man up.
Yeah.
So Sam Walker this year, if Sam Walker's because a couple of years ago Sam Walker's putting pressure on DCE.
I reckon Tom Dearden's next man up.
To 7? For 7?
Yep.
It'd be... I don't know.
I reckon a lot of people...
6.
Yeah. I think them two are the future together because even Money's
29, isn't
29, 30.
He's still got another 4 or 5
Yeah, he'll probably keep going.
No, that one's going to stop him.
Yeah, I'm excited about this Manly team. I got him in the 5 to 8 range. They could be top 4 or they could be bottom 4 as well.
It's fucking crazy, isn't it?
They're just one of those swing teams, but they're a team you can get excited about for sure. I think.
Worry about the depth, but a little bit of depth front row.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Like
Jake, he's played a lot of football.
If he's forced to play a shitload of front row, then they could be in trouble because Matt Lodge hasn't recovered from his ACL the way they envision, and Ethan Bullimore's got a lot of potential, but you don't want him playing too much.
I need that structure when they get to the right post. It's a long ball to Jakey, lead out the back, and then DCE out the back or Brooks out the back, and then the back row lead, and then Tommy out the back. That shape is fucking near unstoppable.
That'll be so hard to defend. So get to the right post. Have DCE sitting on the short side with Molly. If they don't count numbers properly,
go back the other way.
Attack, go short side. But if they stack the fullback on the short side, you got Jakey coming through the middle with Lodge or Alloy.
Yeah.
Out the back to Brooks, flick over, Shuey running that tough line that you want him to run, or early
turbo,
ball, 2 variations.
But
he's got to run the hard one first.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you flick out the back and you got a fully fit Tommy Turbo.
That shape is very hard because you're going to look at you have to account for Schuster, right? Because he's going to run a good line. And then you got Turbo out the back, which will make one-on-ones with Schuster. Schuster learns how to run those lines nice and fucking hard, inside out on the outside of the 3-man. Fucking good night.
Game over. Game over. Manly fans, are you excited? I am. All right, let's move on to the last team. North Queensland Cowboys, 2024 gains. I think these are low-key, smoky, nice gains too. Viliami Vailea comes over from the Warriors. Just couldn't find a spot last year. I think he's a real player of the future. And Thomas McKaylee, who's been playing over the Warrington Wolves, is a bit of a journeyman front rower who's been playing in the Super League for a bit. I think he'll be a good little addition to depth pieces in the front row. 2024 losses. The OG James Tamo retired. My son Peter Hiku is now playing for Hull KR. Mitch Dunn has retired as well. Ben Hampton is unsigned. Brendan Elliott is unsigned. Riley Price goes to the Panthers. Gehamat Shibasaki is unsigned. Jake Burke is unsigned. And Tanyela Sadrugu has gone to Brive Rugby. Predicted lineup. I like this line. I really like this lineup. I think they're candidate, big candidate for a bounce back. Drinky, fullback. Magic Murray Taulagi, lock for one wing with Semi Valamai on one wing with the OG Kyle Felt pushing him.
You're going to give him the spot straight away.
Well, Valamai took it from Felt last year.
And Felt come back, didn't he?
Yeah, he come back, but that's when there was injuries. And
I know.
There was competition for sure. Val Holmes will get one centre spot with the vacant Petahiku spot going to, I think, it'll go to Zach Labert.
You miss him. He's been good, Hiku, man.
Yeah.
Fuck, he got his New Zealand jersey back. He was killing it, man.
Defensively, very sound too. Yeah. Really good defender.
Scored some good tries.
They probably had the 2 best defensive centres in the competition in Val Holmes and Petahiku. It didn't go as well last year, but still. I think another guy who's going to really push, like I said, is Viliami Vailea for a starting centre spot. Tommy Dearden and Chad Townsend in the halves. Look at the options that they've got in their forward pack if they're fully healthy. You got either Jordan McLean or Cohen Hess pushing for one front row spot. I think Griffin Neem is really going to put some pressure on Jason Tomalo.
Third or fourth year now.
He's going to really put pressure on Jace for that starting front row spot because even though Jace wears the 13 and Ruben Cotter wears the 10, it's like Ruben Cotter's the 13 and Jason Tomalo is the front row. What about their back row? They've got a combination of, I think, Luciano Leilua and Jeremiah Nanai are the options if they're fully fit. But you've got Fine Fuiaki as well, who a lot of clubs are looking for. They're really looking at adding him.
Off the bench for another couple of years.
Ruben Cotter's a lock for lock. Jake Granville in the 14 with either maybe Mudders Clifford pushing him as a succession plan to get some time in the halves, which we'll talk about. And then therefore, whoever doesn't end up making that starting lineup,
or Neem, you know what I mean?
You got Hess. Just say Jordan McLean and Jason Tomalo start at the start of the year. You've got Cohen Hess and Griffin Neem coming off the bench with Hylam Lukey.
Yeah, I like that.
Or Fine Fuiaki.
Yeah, I like that.
So
as forwards are guns. A lot of pressure on Townsend, man.
It's a really strong 21. I'll get to a question on Townsend.
And Robson is the 9, right?
My predicted finish, top 4. Ooh. Got Cowboys going back to the top 4. We went hard on them last year. I'm not shying away from it. I think they bounced back. $19 to win the GF, $9 to make the GF, $21 to win the minor premiership, $3.25 for my selection of making the top 4, $1.65 I think is a good bet to make the top 8. To miss the 8, $2.10. Here's the question for you, mate. Should they try blood in Clifford this season with Dearden or stick it out with Chad Townsend? That's from Chris161.
What, Clifford? Clifford's been around for like 5 years.
Yep.
You're going to blood him in. He's not a kid anymore.
Well, a couple of years at the Cowboys, a couple of years at the Knights, 1 year at HSC.
Yeah.
Do they envision him being the long-term partner now with Tom Dearden, I guess is the question, or do you stick with Chad Townsend?
Stick with Chad Townsend for another year.
I agree.
Yeah, you got to.
Why?
Because Clifford's not. He's not that dude. Like he's all right. He's a decent club player, but he's not. He's had a lot of chances to prove that he's that dude. He's what 24 now. I reckon.
Be 24,
25.
Yeah.
Usually, like you start, showing a lot more promise. He had a chance up in Newcastle to cement himself up there. He didn't do that. He went overseas, and come back here. Like he's got a bit of talent, but he ain't that dude.
But I agree. Those seasons weren't great. Cowboys weren't a great team when he was there. The Newcastle Knights weren't a great team when he was there. Now he comes back with a little bit more less expectations.
Yeah, but when I see his body of work and what I see, like the eyeball test, no.
Yeah. So Chad Townsend.
Chad Townsend's going to do. He kicks good. He passes good. He tackles all right. He leads them around the field. Unless Clifford can come back and just be a totally different player. And like his leadership skills and his kicking game and all that kind of stuff, they're nowhere near as good as Townsend.
I agree. I think Chad Townsend is a lock for the 7 just because you need a guy like he's been that steady and ship for him. Yeah, last season didn't go as planned.
No.
But I think you got a guy like Chad, and then if something was to happen, and this is what I think could eventuate, like Chad's getting a little bit older. He most likely will move on next year with the amount.
Who knows if he kills it this year?
Yeah, and if he wants to stay on a club-friendly deal, could be the difference because he's probably not going to get the money that he's on now.
He ain't going overseas.
So, depends on the situation moving forward. But I agree with you on Clifford. He hasn't proven it yet, but I still think there's a player in there. And if given the opportunity with this team, because in my opinion, this team is stacked. I think they're a candidate to bounce back. Then I think Clifford can really kick on. And it's almost like if you're Chad Townsend, it's your team. You're the captain. You're running the team, but you can't really afford to get injured because this is such a good team. A player could come in, a plug and play, and Tom Dearden then takes over the team if Chad gets injured or
he could
misses any time.
There's no doubt that Clifford can do a job easily because of Dearden's there. All he has to do is game manage, kick the ball good. Make your tackles.
He's a good kicker of the footy.
Yeah,
he can
do all those little things. You don't have to overplay your hand when you've got a running 5'8". There's probably a lot of pressure on Clifford when he was coming through the system, and he just didn't. He was coming through the system in some shit systems, right?
Yeah,
I get it.
The teams weren't great.
They weren't that great, but I mean, I've seen enough of him to go, okay, well, he's going to be a game manager. He ain't going to be that dude who's going to make line breaks and all that kind of shit. Line break assists. He doesn't do that. I've seen enough. I've seen like 100 games. How many games has he played? He's played a fucking fair few.
Maybe 50 or 60.
Yeah, it's a lot.
You remember like at the start of 2022, he started the season pretty well. He's in this is the first 4 or 5 weeks. He's a contention. I think he's opposite. I don't think he's going to be a game manager. I think he's going to be a sort of player that's going to be, you don't want to rely on him running a team. No. I think he can, he's a fairly good runner. He's quicker than what people think. Support a little bit more. Maybe his ceiling, and this is his ceiling, or a player that he should strive to try to be like. It's like a Jimmy Maloney,
Jimmy Maloney's a gun.
But I'm saying that's the sort of type of player he should be. Like Jimmy wasn't renowned as like a game manager. He was a really good 6. He pushed,
played. Yeah.
He supported around his middles really well. Talk a bit of shit. Get involved defensively. He missed a few tackles. Deja vu, get back up, just fucking get back in the line, and kick really well. He did kick really well.
His kicking game was great.
Maybe that's a player that he should sort of look to emulate.
And he is only young as well, right? He's his 3rd or 4th year. Who knows what can happen? I think he's a product of that whole system where we just throw young kids to the wolves.
Yep.
And sink or swim. He doesn't swim, so we just
26,
just forget about him. Right?
67 games and 26 years old.
See, like you expect something.
There's still a bit in there.
Yeah,
there's still time for him.
There's a shitload in there.
There's
But
time
it's like
for him.
now, this is very important right now.
Yep, I agree. Really excited to see a couple of bounce back candidates. Ruben Cotter was a dog still all year. Wally Lewis medal. Jeremiah and I.
Yeah.
He had as rough a season as anyone at the Cowboys. Only because
Injuries.
we didn't even mention him the other day when we talked about X Factor back rowers. We mentioned Hamoli, Fafita, and Kicks.
And he was 2 years ago.
And
he was that dude.
he was the guy who would have been front of mind for us 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Had a bit of a down year last year. Missed a bit of footy, suspension, injuries. Big candidate for a bounce back.
Get a full preseason too because he's only young. He's
And
only very, very young.
He's
And he
21.
he was injured last year.
Yeah, he was.
For the preseason. That really fucked him. He played in the World Cup.
I think he broke his
Yeah, but he
arm
played in the
around.
World Cup
Yeah.
and he was like, he would have been, fuck yeah, I just won Origin, I just won the World Cup. You know what I mean?
20 years old.
20 years old. I've done everything.
big deal.
Nearly made a grand final. So it's just like now, a little bit of humble pie. And this is what rugby league can do.
Be
You'd
good
be
for him.
fucking at the top of the world next minute. Holy shit.
And the other guy because we talk about guys potentially taking that next step, Scotty Drinkwater.
Yeah.
He was, 18th man for Origin last year. I think if Teddy starts slow,
You've got to come
then
out
there-
of the blocks, mate.
there are two guys that are going to put real pressure on him, Dylan Edwards and Scott Drinkwater. And I think Scott Drinkwater's ball playing is a
I'd have
real...
Drinkwater in front of fucking Dylan Edwards.
I think, you sort of need that to break down Queensland, don't you? Like you look at...
Because his passing game is like 5'8",
Silky.
like a 5'8".
It's so silky.
He's three on twos, but he always makes the right decision.
Yep. But
tough,
then he
quick.
doesn't have the engine or the reliability defensively that Dylan Edwards and Teddy have got as well. So you've got to...
You don't think he's fit enough?
Oh, he's fit enough, but like those two guys are elite. Dylan Edwards and Teddy, they're so reliable defensively. So do you
Got a lot
want
more games. They've had a lot more meters in their legs as well.
Yep,
This
more
is probably
runs
his
on the board.
third, fourth
proper season.
season, mate.
Yep.
So he's probably gonna think, I need to get fitter. I need to be doing Dylan Edwards shit and prime Teddy. You know what I mean? I'm not sure what they're gonna do with Teddy this year with Origin. Like
It'll be tough.
it'll be fucking tough, mate.
It'll depend on the way they start the season.
There'll be a talk. There'll be. I'm not sure what Madge is thinking.
Yeah, Madge has come in. So you look at Madge,
He could
right?
be thinking totally different.
Well, Madge come in and different levels, but at the time still players with strong reputations and runs on the board. I think when he come in and took over the Kiwis, no Sean Johnson, no Kieran Foran.
I don't think he cares.
And then he went with
gonna
Jerome
be
Hughes
picking
and Dylan
He's going to
Brown.
be picking on form. But then again, he's going to have his team, and then you go to the selectors,
Yeah.
and they're like, he's in. That's how it happens.
Yeah, okay.
Doesn't matter. He could have his team go, this is what I think, and then they go, well, this is what we think, and this is what's going to happen. So that's the difference. Guys like Freddie and all those blokes, they had a bit of power because they play for New South Wales and they're embedded in that sort of system. A lot more pull. They know the selectors where Madge is fish out of water there.
Yeah. A play to watch for the
interesting.
Cowboys, mate, before we move on quickly. Dejaze Pua Avase. They've got young Islander, just tear away back rows coming
Harlan
up.
Lucas,
Mate,
my boy.
Harlem Lukey, Kuli Kefu Finawaki,
Fuyaki.
Jeremiah Nanai, and even the OG Luciano was still. Luciano was one of the best last year
Yeah.
in a bad Cowboys team. Luciano was putting together still a good season, and then Luciano's got the flexibility to go to the middle as well. They got back rolls coming out of their ass up at the Cowboys.
Depends what they do. What do you reckon they'll start Taumalolo in the front row?
Yeah.
And put I don't like the balance of Ruben being in the back row.
Okay, what do you like,
I
Rubens?
like Ruben playing a lock. And
So I had Ruben.
yeah. But I'm just like, how he sometimes comes off the bench or he plays in the back row. Like put him in at lock with fucking
He wears 10.
with Taumalolo.
Yeah.
And just and Robson and whoever that other front row is, McLean.
Yeah,
There's a great middle there.
He wears 10, but Jace plays front
I
row
know.
and he plays lock.
Jace just might like 13.
He loves 13.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's respect to the OG. You get the 13
but
jersey.
just put them all in the middle.
Okay.
That's
Yep.
your best middle. Robson, fucking Cotter, Taumalolo, and McLean.
All right.
Or Hess. I don't know.
I'm sort of where the Cowboys finish.
I said they were going to be in the grand final.
You think they're going to be in the
No,
grand
I
final?
thought they were going to be in the grand final last year.
What about this year?
Fuck, mate. I'm fucking hesitant not even to put him in the 8.
Are ya?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a big one.
Mm.
I like it. Well, there you go. You can't have everyone in the top 8. So
No.
once someone's got to fall out.
You know, they got the exact same team as last year.
Yep.
So obviously they've proven the wheels can fall off.
Yep. Okay, that's fair enough.
You know,
that's
so
fair
I
enough.
have that much confidence in it, but I just think, I don't know. Now, I'm not going to make my mind up yet, but like it's not. I'm not as confident as I was last year because of Townsend.
Yeah.
Because of some of their players, I'm just like, fuck, he had such a down year compared to that year before. Fuck the team.
Yeah, for sure.
And they had players like Robson had a career best year, played Origin. Cotter got fucking man of the match in Origin. Taumalolo is the key to that team, man. He needs to be playing every single game. And at the moment, he seemed like there's a few injuries creeping up. He can't get a full season in. He's the best forward in this last generation, easily, in my eyes.
Yep.
But how old is he now? He'll be 30 this year.
Yeah, it'd be 31, 32 now.
A lot of kilometres in those legs.
Heaps of
lot of minutes. And he's their spiritual leader, man. They go as far as he goes. Every year that they've dominated,
it's because
no
he's
one's sided with that dude being the best forward in the world.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he's that dude.
I don't think he has to be that dude for them this year. I think he passes the baton to guys like Jeremiah and Ruben Cotter.
I think he's got a shitload more football in him. It's just the body. Your best ability is availability. He hasn't been available. You know, he's missed 10 games, and then they fuck around with him and Toddy. You know, I'm not sure about that relationship.
I think it's good now. I think it was
playing him off the bench and just shit like that, and playing him fuck all minutes.
Yeah, it was a little bit prickly before, but I think they've figured it out now.
I hope so, because if he's playing his best football, they'll make the 8.
I'm trying to just check Jace's age now for you as we go.
It's got to be 30.
30. He's 30, turning 31 this year.
Yeah.
So
they debuted when he was
252 games. It's a lot of footy, man.
It's a lot of footy.
And you're right, he played 16 games last year, so he missed
10, 12.
Yeah, so
from a lot of games,
he's missed a lot of games, man. So 2020, he only played 16.
Yeah.
2021, only 15. You're right. 25 games, what happens?
Yeah.
Finals, top 4.
Bees dig off a grand final.
2023, 16, they don't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
So you're right. You're 100% right.
He's
Tomalolo
their
is playing. He's their dude.
He plays more than 20 games, they make the 8.
All right, so if you agree with Mason, you think they're going to miss the 8, they're $2.10. And what is gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, call gamblinghelponline.com.au or call 1-800-858-858. Last question of the day, Mace. Out of all these 3 teams, the Dolphins, the Sea Eagles, and the Cowboys, which player do you think is going to be the most influential for all 3 teams this season? That's from Daniel Parker to finish off the show.
But one each from each team? Or no?
Just one out of the 3.
Oh, man, it's either Turbo or Taumalolo. That's it. I don't think anyone's that influential in the Dolphins. That's going to, someone's out, just say Nicarima's out, or Bromwich or whatever, or Hammer. They're not.
I agree.
It's not the end of the year.
I agree. I don't think Dolphins are going to...
Turbo, they're done. But I think they have made the right moves last year when they put Garrick to fullback and they can manage that sort of stuff. Or you got Kohler now. I think they can manage that. But I'm thinking Taumalolo. I just explained it then. I just think he's so important to that team. If he has an off year, they're all off. He needs to be playing like at least 24 games. Turbo's massive, but I just think they nearly figured it out by the end of last year and they nearly made the 8.
They did, yeah. On for and against, maybe
I just think
if
you didn't put that Weeks kid at fullback for 4 to 6 weeks when they lost 5 games, they make the 8. Well, if they had to put Garrick straight there.
Raiders 32 points, and then you had the Rabbitohs, Eels, and Cowboys on 30 points, and then Manly on 29. So they missed it by 3 points.
And they fucked up 3 or 4 games there, and they would have made the 8 if they. I reckon if Garrick had played, or if Kohler had played at fullback. I don't know. Taumalolo.
I'm with you on the team. I'm with a different player that I think you're going to agree upon as well. Out of all these 3 teams, I think the Cowboys have a high ceiling. And therefore, I'm going to go the guy that we've talked a lot about in Chad Townsend.
Yeah.
I think he's the guy that changed the culture of this team. I think there's going to be some nice added competition pressure for him to perform this year with a guy like Jake Clifford in the squad, who's a North Queensland ex-player, junior, been around the club long enough. He'll know the boys well enough that if Chad's not on top of it, this team, in my opinion, is a top 4 roster.
Do you think that Clifford will push Townsend to that next level?
I think he'll just keep him honest.
Yeah.
I don't think Chad can go any higher than what he is now, but his best footy was for sure in 2022, and this will get him back to it.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I like that. Townsend's there's a lot of pressure on him because like that Clifford kid, he's not awful. He can fucking do a job.
Well,
he can do a job as good as Townsend.
Well, the pressure on Chad is this squad. Look at the squad, mate. This is a good squad.
Last year was a fucking grand final team.
We both thought they were going to win the grand final.
And
Why?
Cronulla.
'Cause they were stacked.
Yeah.
Because
they're still stacked.
And they're still stacked.
I don't
Ruben
know.
Potter, dog. Jeremiah Nanai, dog.
You're talking
Griffin Neem, dog. Reece Robson, dog. Tommy Dearden, dog. Highland Lukey, dog. Val Holmes, dog.
Yes. Like just everyone. You're too good.
You're too good.
You are too good not to be in the top 8.
It's a top 4 roster and the most.
And I fucking love the
influential
Cowboys.
player.
I fucking love the Cowboys. I want them to do good. I'm just like, oh.
But they got you. They burnt you last year.
Burnt me last year.
Yeah, okay. I always feel, so this is, I think, the punting side of me as well. It's like I always back that same horse just in case. Yeah. You know, like back one horse one week and then...
I feel if I say no, they'll fucking just go and make the top 4.
So you're saying no.
They're in the top 8. They're in.
All right, let's get... that's the end of the show. Coming back on Thursday, we're going to break down. Mace thinks the Eels, Rabbitohs and Raiders are all going to make the 8 as well.
Oh, shit. Is there a top 14? See you guys.